is the number. 1-8 I almost gave the pledge drive number. Can you believe that? 1-833-288-3986. Jerry and I just did a wonderful pledge drive for Sacred Heart Radio in Seattle and the surrounding areas. And it is pledge drive season. So your local radio stations will be coming to you, asking you to support Catholic radio. And so because of that, I have all these numbers going through my head. So please forgive me if I give the wrong number. It just happens.
It does happen. Yeah, 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. I myself was raised more or less by a single mom. She did remarry after my dad a couple times. One of those gentlemen passed away, unfortunately, and my mother did not stay with the other one. So pretty much a single mom raising 5 kids. So from my own personal experience, I know the sacrifices that go into that, the challenges that entails, but also just the great love that my mother put into raising 5 of us kids by herself. So if you are a dad or a mom and you've got one or more than one, maybe multiple children, and you are raising them yourself, or maybe even if you had a single parent, you could weigh in on that as well, what it was like growing up in a single parent home. We want to talk about that because today is National Single Parents Day. 833-288-3986 is the primary way. That's the way that you get on the program when we can hear your lovely voice. 833-288-3986.
And I want to read this beautiful email from Timoteo, a wonderful follower of Take Two, a loyal listener, part of our Inspired by Faith book and fellowship club. But Timoteo said this, and now listen closely. I actually read this to my sister this morning. We both just welled up with emotion. Tim said, first, excellent program today. And second, I want to share my observations ahead of time. This is coming from a child of divorce, and as you both know, my father was absent from my life for 25 years. Yet there was a blessing to this. From observing all the sacrifices my mother made for my siblings and I, it taught me that women were capable of anything. A woman's place is where God puts her, either as a housewife or flying a fighter jet. This taught me to respect women, and as one friend puts it, I learned to appreciate women. Thus, the observation of a child of a single parent, thank you, and God bless. I'm just welling up because that is so beautiful. Tim, if you're listening, which you probably are because you do listen to the show on a regular basis, you're amazing to say that, to say, I appreciate women. They can do so much. And that is so true. Women do, and men do as well. There's a parent that is a male and they have to take on, that beautiful responsibility and privilege of raising a family. But women, when they step into the role, they step in and they go 100% because they know how important it is, because they are caring for that child, and maybe they gave birth to that child, and it's very, very important. And so I love that Tim wrote that in appreciation of women.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Would you like to weigh in as well, dear Take Two family? Half of the lines are already filled. We've got some that are not yet. 833-288-3986. This is not in any way whatsoever about the circumstances that led to you being a single parent or being raised by single parents. For every situation, there's perhaps a different scenario that plays out that leads to that. Sometimes that is just the way things happen. And with God's help and, like we said, a lot of love and sacrifice, this can definitely be done. So if you have an experience you would like to share, please join us by phone, 833-288-3986. You can email, like Timoteo did, take2@EWTN.com. If you're watching YouTube or Facebook, the video streams, hello to you great people there. You can post your comments there. You can post on the show website, which is take2show.com. And if you'd like to text us, you can text the letters EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response. Put in your first name and your comment. Might be a small data rate, but we'd love to hear from you in any one of those particular ways.
2 open phone lines here on Take Two, and one of them could have your name on it. Just got to start dialing 1-833-288-3986. So if you're currently a single parent and you'd like to call in on National Single Parents Day, please do so. If you were a single parent, you were raised by a single parent, whatever works, anything in between, we want to hear from you. Give us the behind the scenes understanding of being a single parent. We want to learn and grow together. That's what Take Two is all about. If we don't learn something, we haven't done our job, folks. So please participate. Help us out. Fill that last open phone line at 833-288-3986. And if you just tuned in, you do not have to be Catholic to call in. If you're a single parent, you were raised by a single parent, it's National Single Parents Day. Please call us.
Yeah, it's great to have your participation as we kick off a new week of broadcasts here, coming off of the week of St. Patrick and, of course, St. Joseph's feast day. On Saturday, we had a beautiful spaghetti dinner at my parish, following the vigil mass for Sunday, and now today we're having a special mass for St. Joseph with a reception afterwards. So we are St. Joseph Parish, so we've got to enter into that in a full way. But good to be back live on the program here this morning with you, this afternoon, depending on where you happen to be. Ace McKay is our producer. Jeff Burson is on social media. Matt Gabensky is busy screening calls, but they are not entirely full. There is one line left. One just got taken there. 833-288-3986. We want to learn from you about being a single parent, what your experience has been with that here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Church Pop takes a fresh and fun look at the news shaping our world, featuring engaging, inspiring, and informative Catholic social media content. Find it on Snapchat, Instagram, and on the web at churchpop.com. And you can get Church Pop emailed directly to your inbox. Visit EWTN.com and click subscribe. EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
Hello, this is Janet Morena of Priests for Life with Pro-Life Update. Lent teaches us the meaning of love. Jesus endures his passion and crucifixion for each of us, giving himself away that we might have life. Abortion, on the other hand, is the opposite of love because it takes life. Love says, I sacrifice myself for the good of the other person. Abortion says, I sacrifice the other person for the good of myself. Strangely, the same words are used in both cases. Supporters of abortion say, this is my body. I can do what I want. Jesus says, this is my body given up for you. The same words are spoken from opposite ends of the universe with totally opposite results. Let us resolve to live those words as Jesus did, giving ourselves away for the good of others, born and unborn. This is Janet Morena on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Join us on this special broadcast celebrating single parents today on National Single Parent Day. So it's a perfect time for you to call in and share your experience of being raised by a single parent, or you are a single parent yourself. Please call us. We'd love to have a very vibrant discussion on this. 833-288-3986. And Jerry, before we get to the phones, I just want to share with our listeners EWTN Radio Essentials. Folks, you can listen for the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass celebrated every 2 hours, plus rosaries, chaplets, Stations of the Cross, and other devotionals every hour. That's on EWTN Radio Essentials. You can hear EWTN Radio Essentials on the EWTN app and at EWTN.com.
All right, very good. 833-288-3986, celebrating the really the heroism of many single parents today on National Single Parent Day, and looking forward to hearing your takes, your lived experiences, your perspectives on this. We're going to start with Ann, who is in Lansing, Michigan, listening on the EWTN app. Hello, Ann. Welcome to Take Two. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. Go right ahead.
So, yes, I'm 58, and my daughter was born almost 40 years ago when I was in college, single, and one of my friends at the time said, I think you should give your baby up for adoption before she was born, but I was too prideful. I don't know, sure of myself, I guess. And I guess I didn't have the courage to do that. So I just assumed, oh, by the time she's 5, God will give me a good husband and she'll have a dad. Well, that did not happen. I am still single. So she grew up without a father in the home. And I think she is still suffering the consequences of that to this day. She's, like I said, going on 40. In the summer, she'll turn 40. And 4 years ago, her husband left her when she was a stay-at-home mom with 5 young children. Mm. And they are still, of course, greatly struggling to this day. 3 of them are boys, and they don't have a man in the house to show them how to be a man. Mm-hmm. And their father was verbally abusive, very verbally abusive before he left. Mm-hmm. So I want to encourage anyone single and pregnant to really, really consider giving up for adoption, because that doesn't happen very much anymore. And I think people should really consider that seriously.
Well, but Anne, let me ask you a question. Where are you at right now, and where's your daughter at? Do you have any regrets of doing that, of raising your daughter? Do you feel that she would have been, how do you know she would have been better off? You chose a certain path and you did the best you could, okay? Your daughter is in a situation now with the children, and now her husband stepped away from the family. There's always a chance to reset things. There's always a chance to make things better. As long as we're living and breathing, we can start over, okay? It's just a matter of the work we're willing to put into it. So my question to you, Anne, is are you and your daughter are you at that point where are you tired, exhausted, full of, regrets or whatever? Or are you at a point where you just want to hit that reset button and just kind of start anew? Where are you at?
Oh my gosh. I just got a text from my daughter saying her oldest child had a seizure.
We will pray. We will pray.
She's prone to these seizures. Mm-hmm. They seem to be stress related.
Sure. Sure. But where do you think you're at with going forward? Because we're on a journey, okay? We're pilgrims on a journey. So where are you guys headed, you and your daughter?
Well, I think they need more prayer as a family, okay. But I don't know if me saying that is going to help.
Mm-hmm. Everything helps, Anne. Everything helps. And you know what? I sense that you guys are kind of maybe, kind of overwhelmed or confused or even exhausted from what's transpiring. But I would just encourage you and your daughter, when you get a chance, there are so many resources out there, Anne. There are books, there are things online, there are counselors, there are coaches, there are all sorts of people you can tap into to help you guys really have the best life that you can possibly have, with a purpose and a passion and a greater understanding. I'm going to pray that you guys, the right people and the right circumstances come into view, and you guys kind of journey your way through it. And you'll see, the good Lord wants us to have life and to have it to the full. That means abundance. It means overflowing. That means to experience everything. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's experiencing everything. But I want you to keep moving and feeling that passion and purpose. I'm going to pray for that, Anne, if that's okay.
Okay, but I also want to say that while my daughter was very young, like 5, 6 years old, I was, I'd had some dating experiences, and including one that I thought was heading for marriage. And while we dated, he was like a father to my daughter. But he moved to Texas, and then 6 months later broke up with me, and his father was a pain in the butt. not helpful at all. So I had resentment about having to raise my daughter without the help of a husband and father.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And there was times I took out that resentment on my daughter. And it, including physically, not just verbally, but physically. So she, I think, is still suffering from that and has resentment toward me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and now she does the same thing to her children.
Right.
Right. Okay.
The thing is, Debbie was right, though. I mean, all of this can be healed if we can put it that way. And I think it's Saint Therese of Lisieux who says, God can make right anything that we made wrong. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. We don't just wish it and there it is and it happens. But maybe it could start with maybe you've done this before, maybe it could start with a real heart-to-heart talk with your daughter, where you just basically say, here was the situation. I'm sure she probably knows the situation you were in, that you decided to keep her, and that these emotions kind of over the years surfaced a little bit. You acted improperly in some cases based on those emotions and feelings and so forth. But, I know I had some issues with my own mother, and prior to her passing away, we had a couple of very, very tearful heart-to-heart talks, and they're cleansing, they're healing. God's grace can get in there, Ann, and just really, you just have no idea the joy, the potential joy that could possibly be lying before you and your daughter right now. As difficult as the situation is that she is in right now, we know that you're going to be supporting her, and that dear grandchild of yours who just had that seizure there. We are definitely going to be praying for that grandchild of yours and all of your grandchildren and your daughter and you. We have a prayer book, and I'm sure Debbie has all of you in that prayer book by now.
Well, thank you very much, and I've made tearful apologies to my daughter, and she's still holding on to resentment. So it's going to take a lot of prayer to break through that for her.
Mm-hmm. It will, but as Debbie said something very key, if we're willing to put in the effort, it does take some hard work. But all hard work in life pays off with dividends, with good fruit. So we will pray for that, for your daughter's heart to just see the good that can come if she really wants to try and shed that resentment, because God does not want her carrying that around. He doesn't want any of us carrying that around. So,
Absolutely.
All right, Ann, we'll be praying
Ann.
for this whole situation. Okay? Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Ann. That was a genuine call. She's speaking from her heart, and I think a lot of parents may feel that way, whether you're in an intact family or a single parent family, or parents feel that way. Sometimes we carry a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of responsibility, a lot of there's a lot of burdens, a lot of things happening. It's tough to be a parent. It's not easy. They don't give you a manual when they hand you that cute little baby coming out of the hospital. They don't hand you a manual at the same time.
Right.
Okay,
let's go to Susan. Susan is in Grandview, Washington. First-time caller listening on Sirius XM 130. Hello, Susan. Welcome.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a retired social worker and worked with many, many, many single parents. Some of them were just overwhelmed with their lives, and other ones were more organized and able to move forward and had good support systems. And you already mentioned the fact that there's so many ways for single parents to find assistance out there, whether it's where they need support financially, or they might need some counseling and things like that. There's lots and lots of support systems. But I'd also like to mention the fact that there are many parents who cannot parent their children and wind up the grandparents wind up taking care of them. Mm-hmm. And that is in a very real way, that's a single parenting issue, because they really have there's nothing like having a grandchild, and very few grandparents are not able to at least take on some of the responsibility of those little guys. It's really amazing to watch. And after retiring and stuff, and of course, when I was working with families, I was not able to really socialize with them. But since retiring, I have been able to see some of them, and it's really amazing to see the growth that all of them have made.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Beautiful. Well, Susan, first of all, thank you for the work that you did.
Yes.
Unquestionably, you were there for a lot of families that needed services and resources and so forth. So thank you for doing that. And you made another good point. And I think we have a caller coming up who might want to comment on this. I think we did a show, Debbie, about grandparents raising their grandkids. I think we did a show on that not too long ago. And, this is just, I think it's another testimony to the love, the dedication of family, extended family, even in circumstances that would not be considered, normal, such as grandparents raising grandkids. But, people step in. They step in because they want the best for their loved ones, for their kids, and even in situations like Susan is talking about for their grandkids. And so, I think that... it's love compels us to do a lot of very heroic things.
Right. I totally agree. And Susan, I echo what Jerry said. Thank you so much for being a social worker. You stepped right into the middle of families and helping them, navigate and make things the best they can possibly be. So that's a heavy responsibility, and you took it on. So thank you so very much. And I just wanted to say I agree. I mean, I do think that the extended support of family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, friends, it does help. And people should want to step up and really be a part, but not to the point where they have to take on the full responsibility. I do think that, when a child comes into the family, everybody can do their part. That's the beauty of the Catholic Church with godparents, Jerry. I mean, we have such a big emphasis on godparents, and so many of us as godparents, we don't even realize what it really entails. It's a big responsibility. It's a spiritual responsibility. We should step in. We should be that person that passes on the faith and shares the faith and talks about the faith and encourages the faith, right? But so many godparents don't do that. If we all played our roles, I think we would do a fine job in helping to support families, those that are intact and those that are single parents. And, I believe that so strongly, Jerry. What do you feel about that?
No, I agree with what you're saying. I'd be curious to know, Susan, your thoughts on what Debbie was just sharing.
Well, I think that, it does take a village. It's not just when you have a child, I mean, obviously you take on the major part of the responsibility of raising that child. But as a neighbor, I mean, I see families around here where I live now, and I see families where I know that they just need somebody to walk up and say, hey, you know what, you're doing a great job. Right. You're doing a fine job. Just keep going. And can I do anything? Do you need anything? Mm-hmm. I mean, and that doesn't mean that you have to be financially responsible for somebody. But sometimes all they need is a ride to the grocery store or just somebody to sit down and have a cup of coffee with. Right. And that's the part that a lot of people just kind of dismiss.
Yeah, that's beautiful points, Susan, all of them. Again, thank you for your wonderful work that you did. I'm sure you blessed many, many lives, and you blessed our program here today as well. Thank you for your insights. Vivian is next. We got Celesta. We've got Linda. Take two with Jerry and Debbie talking about single parents today.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, and this is an EWTN Bookmark Brief. Speaking with Bill Donahue of the Catholic League about his latest work, The Truth About Clergy Sexual Abuse, clarifying the facts and the causes. published by Ignatius Press, available through our EWTN Religious Catalog, EWTNRC.com. So, Bill, tell us, why should somebody want to read a book about clergy sexual abuse?
The time has come to get rid of the myths. There are a lot of myths out of there that somehow we own this problem when we don't. And we have to get rid of the myth that somehow this was a pedophilia crisis. That's simply a lie. It's a homosexual crisis, homosexual driven from the very get-go. And that's why I wrote the book.
Absolutely, and people should check it up. This is an EWTN bookmark brief. Bill Donahue is the author, The Truth About Clergy Sexual Abuse, clarifying the facts and the causes, and he does, published by Ignatius Press, available through our catalog. I'm Doug Keck. This has been an EWTN bookmark brief. I encourage you to check this book out. See you next time.
You can be a part of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Text EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response, then text us with your first name and question. It's that easy. Message and data rates may apply.
He was a scholar, a preacher, a Capuchin Franciscan, and a defender of Christendom.
Matthew Bunson and the Doctors of the Church.
St. Lawrence of Brindisi was one of the most respected preachers in the 17th century, but he also helped raise an army against the Ottoman Turks when they invaded Hungary in 1601. He led the troops to victory against the Turks, carrying only a crucifix. He was declared a Doctor of the Church in 1959.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
This is your show, Take Two, with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani. And thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. We appreciate that so very, very much. And thank you, Take Two family, for being with us here on this discussion about single parenthood. We're talking about this on National Single Parent Day. 833-288-3986 if you'd like to join the conversation, as Vivian has done in North Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hello, Vivian. Welcome.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Debbie. How you are doing?
Doing pretty well. How are you?
Oh, fine. First of all, I want to ask Debbie how she's doing, health-wise. Last time so I think about you and pray for you, and how are you feeling? I hope everything is well with you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. I try to take it day by day. I have good days. I have not so good days, but I'm hanging in there. I'm still standing. So thanks to the prayers. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Mother Mary is with you. Anyway, first of all, I'm so happy about this National Single Parent Day. I'm going to send a text to my friends who are single parents. But my question is, my kids are grown now. Their dad left when they were young, and the oldest is 35, 31, and 30. They are grown, and now I have 5 grandchildren. So when I am out there, I'm like, oh, I'm a single mom. So they don't say that anymore, Vivian. Your kids are grown. Sometimes it makes me angry because I've been a single mom. I'm still, yes, I'm a grandma. I still work. I'm not retired. So as grandparents, not just me, I have 5 grandkids now. We are still here to fill the space. We are, like my second daughter, who is 31, just had twins. The twins just turned 1. I live about an hour away. I drive there to help her every weekend. They are my source of joy, my grandchildren. And in the Catholic Church, yes, like I had called before, the 2 daughters are married to non-Catholics. They left the faith, but they know they were baptized, confirmed, received their first communion in the Catholic Church. They know I don't play with math. So, like recently, we all went on vacation. So I live in Texas, went to California. The first thing I did, we're going to leave town on a Saturday. I don't mess with math. And it's part of my life. They know, yes, I'm not fighting with you. I'm still praying. One day you can come back to the church. I told my daughter, you know what? Before we leave, just Google the duty by the Catholic Church all over the world. Where you live, just Google the nearest Catholic church. I know you're all like taking me on vacation. We all go on vacation. But I want to go to Mass. I don't care what wherever you take me to. When we get there, we find it there. So it was so lovely. We arrived in California, San Diego. We found a Mass that was so close to where we were. We all attended Mass, and it was beautiful.
Vivian, we were having a little bit of I think there was some breakup in your connection there, but if I gathered things right, you said that you have, I think you said you have 5 grandchildren. You live about an hour away, at least from some of them, and on the weekends you try to get over there and be an influence in their lives. And you were talking a lot about trying to influence them with regard to the faith, how important that is for you, especially as you went on vacation, and one of your priorities was making sure that there was a church identified that you could go to, and just some thoughts on that. So many grandparents, really, that is the kind of the heart and soul of what drives them to be so beautifully involved in the lives of their grandkids, is to make sure when maybe the parents aren't living the faith like perhaps they should, maybe they're getting them the sacraments, but maybe not practicing the faith or attending Mass regularly. Debbie, we see it all the time with grandparents who will have little grandkids in tow when they get to church. And, this is what I was talking about a few minutes ago, just what love will lead us to do. And love has to look at the eternal benefit of the soul first, more than anything else. And so,
absolutely. Well, Vivian makes faith a priority in her home with her kids and her grandkids, and that's important. And that's what we're all called to do by our baptism. We're called to live out the faith. We're called to spread the faith, and that includes, first and foremost, the domestic church, our families. Okay, very important. So I just love what Vivian had to say, and I think it inspired all of us today. Thank you, Vivian. Sorry we had a little bit of that audio glitch there, but we got the gist of your conversation, and thank you again for your prayers. I live on prayers. I beg everybody for prayers. I beg strangers on the street everywhere I go, every store I go to. People will say, "How's your day going?" I say, "Will you pray for me?" And they're like, "Okay." I just ask everybody. I'm a prayer beggar. I'm proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we all should be. Yeah. We all should crave as many prayers as we can get, to be sure.
Well, speaking of that, can I just say who the patron saint is of single parents?
Sure.
For, to pray, if you want some added heavenly support, it's Saint Margaret of Cortona.
Okay.
Did you know that? Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Saint Margaret of Cortona is the patron saint of single parents. So go to Saint Margaret, ask Saint Margaret to help. You'll get that heavenly support, plus your guardian angels, absolutely. And you'll have a whole group of people helping you in your home.
Good. Well, we take your comments on the video streams, as we mentioned, YouTube and Facebook. Those of you watching there, Michael P. is a regular viewer on YouTube. He says, "I was raised by a single parent as well. Not an easy thing, and my relationship with her was contentious at times. Please pray for the repose of her soul." We will absolutely do that, absolutely. Michael. We'll join you in praying for the repose of the soul of your dear mother.
Yeah. I have to say something. Sometimes I think that single parents, they get a bad rap because, they're dealing with a lot. And I think they can be an easy target for kids and for even outsiders to make statements and judgments and criticisms. But you don't know unless you've traveled it. You really just don't know unless you've really walked that walk. So we really have to be kind. And I go back to what our previous caller said. Susan, the retired social worker, jump in, be a source of encouragement, be there to just say, "What can I do for you?" Be there to help, not to hurt. That's what I say.
All right, 833-288-3986, National Single Parents Day. We are recognizing the many heroic sacrifices that many moms and dads make, as whatever the circumstances are. We're not. This isn't about how they got to be a single parent. It's just the fact that how they step up and do so many beautiful, loving, heroic things. We're going to talk with Linda in Ashland, Massachusetts, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Linda. Welcome.
Hi. How you doing?
Doing okay. How about you today?
Okay. I was raised by a single parent, my mom. My father was actually, he was a bad drinker, Italian drunk pretty much. And my nonna always had to, because he would threaten my mother when I was born. I'm the oldest child, and I would have nightmares. So my nonna had to take my father out of our home when I was 6 years old because he was hurting my mom, but I didn't understand that. I was mad at my mom when my nonna finally talked to me when I was 7 and said, he was no good. He hurt your mom, and that's why you have the nightmares. So I had 2 brothers after me. My brother Paul is 3 years younger than me, and my brother Philip. And my mother had to go to work, and so I had to come home from school and, make sure Paul and Philip, my brothers, were all right and cook dinner and clean. And I was really rebellious in my 13 and 14, 15, 16 years old because I wanted to hang around with my friends. My brothers were old enough at that time, to take care of themselves. So I was very rebellious, and as they got older, I just didn't even bother because I just wanted to have fun. And now I am a single parent. I have, I went in the military, and I wish I was going to make a career of it. And I was 22, and I married some jerk, and when I didn't know, and didn't know much about him, and I was pregnant, and I got discharged in my eighth month pregnancy because I was stationed in Guam, and there was a battle station, so they were worried about the baby. Plus, my nono had passed away, and he was like a father to me. So, and then my son Michael is born, and I wasn't ready for that. And my mother helped me a lot because when I came home from the military, I had to stay with them until I could find a place. And my son grew up with my younger sister and my younger brother and both my other brothers that I mentioned, Paul and Philip. So he always had a male, in his life, not his father. But we also found out when Michael was 21, he had Crohn's disease. And in our family, we didn't know what that was. And I found out later that that's something I should have known. And my ex-husband, like I said, I was stupid and got married and didn't even know about the guy. And I feel like I'm a bad parent because I put my son through that, and he was 21. And when he turned 22, he spent 2006 the whole year in the hospital because there's no cure, there's no set diet, but he had to have surgery 3 weeks with him because it was that severe that his gut was just inflamed with everything. So he went through a hard time, and I blame myself, and I still blame myself, although he's doing fine. He's going to be 40 in July, and he's survived, and he's doing it his way. He's protein shakes, probiotic. He goes to the gym. He's a really, really good kid, and I always apologize to him and tell him that I was a bad mom, and he said, no, Mom. He said, you're not. And I said, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I just feel that I wasn't a good parent to him because sometimes I wouldn't be around when he needed me. Yeah. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. I guess so. I don't know.
Well, Linda, your emotion is very real, and it's a beautiful thing in this sense. Every parent wants the best for their child, and I would encourage you to. We talk a lot in this show about kind of reframing things, looking at things a little bit differently. And yes, there were challenges along the way, a lot of bumps in the road. choices, decisions, actions, things said probably that, we all wish we could take things back. We always wish, all of us wish we could rewind, do a lot of things over again. But I would encourage you to look at the man that Michael is today, the man that you just described. He sounds like he's thriving. You talked about how he's taking very good care of his health, probably eating well, probably exercising. God entrusted you with Michael. God doesn't do that willy-nilly. God looks down and he says, okay, I've got a soul that I want to create. And in this particular case, Linda, that soul was Michael, and he chose you to be Michael's mother and nobody else in the history of the human race. And that is a soul that is destined for eternity with God, good Lord willing. So I would say all of the things collectively that you ever did for Michael, they added up to the man that he is today. And Debbie, I don't know what you heard, but I heard it sounds like through all the challenges of Michael's life, it sounds like he is a pretty good man and got a pretty good life going.
I totally agree. And you had a lot of outside circumstances, Linda, that were factors that played into the situations, of raising Michael, but and some good, some not so good influences, whatever. But here's the situation. Okay, this is a reality. Okay, this is not. I mean, let's look at the model. The model is a dad in the home, very active and engaged, a mom in the home, very active and engaged, and then happy children that grow up in the domestic church and have a faith-filled life and have a well-rounded, childhood, and then they go out into the world. That is the model, and that is what God calls us to do. But then we have what happens in reality, what in real life, right? But I want to just say, Linda, you did do the best you can. You stepped up. Now, do you have regrets? Do you have guilt? Do you have some shame? I'm sure we all can say that. Okay. I think if we're really honest as parents, we can all say that, no matter what situation we're in. The thing that we have to do is come from where our intentions were and where our heart is and where we're going, where we are headed, how we go forward. Okay. So we have to understand that we serve a very great God that gives us many, many chances to start over, many reset buttons. Okay. We can do that. And it doesn't benefit us to stay in a place where we're filled with tremendous amounts of guilt, shame, or whatever else we're all feeling. Okay. It benefits us if we launch out of that and have a new future, a new existence, a new beginnings, like St. Teresa of Avila used to say. So I just want to encourage you, Linda, keep marching forward, keep moving forward, keep understanding God's love and mercy and forgiveness and everything, and keep going forward, because God wants us. He wants us to benefit greatly from our future steps, not living in past rewind, because that's where the demons like to keep us. I just want to hopefully that brings you some comfort, and anyone else that's listening as well, Linda.
It does, because he's a good man. He really is, my son. Good.
And that's his future. He's a good man, and that's his future. Okay, sometimes I think we focus way too much on the rearview mirror. Okay, if you were driving a car, Linda, and you looked at the rearview mirror instead of surveying the whole street in front of you, what would happen to your car, Linda? You'd probably get in an accident, right? Yep, there's the answer. So don't focus so much on the rearview mirror. Focus on the future.
Okay. Thank you for that. You made me feel better.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what God, it's not me, it's God. God would want that. That's what God wants for all of us, including myself. I have to remind myself all the time of that, Linda. I have a history. It's in my DNA to review the past. That's like my family. I don't know if it's an Italian cultural thing. I don't know what it is, but all we do is kind of go over the past over and over again. And you know what? It doesn't serve us. It just doesn't. It's time to go forward. So I'm glad that does bring you comfort, Linda.
It does. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You will be in our prayers, be assured of that. 833-288-3986. Before we go to Mia in Ann Arbor, I want to mention the Sunrise Morning Show for those early risers, especially if you live on the East Coast. It's 6 a.m. Eastern Time on EWTN Radio, Monday through Friday mornings with Anna Mitchell and Matt Swaim. Again, it's called The Sun, S-O-N, the Sunrise Morning Show. Anna and Matt start your day with news and interviews news from a Catholic perspective. Sunrise Morning Show, weekday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Time on most of these same EWTN stations.
Okay, we are going to Mia next in Ann Arbor, Michigan, listening on Ave Maria Radio. Hi, Mia. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. It's actually Leah, which is fine either way.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
About that.
Well, we have it on the screen as Mia. I like Mia too, but Leah's beautiful. There you go.
Thank you. I was raised by a single mom. My parents divorced when I was 13, and I noticed that when you guys introduced the show, you guys had, talked about celebrating Single Parents Day, which now it seems like now you're more so saying National Single Parents Day, but I just wanted to emphasize, especially as Christians who believe that God, created a mom and a dad to, raise their children. And obviously, as you were saying, that is the ideal. But I think when we say celebrate Single Parent Day, it really kind of undermines, it's very secular sounding, and it kind of undermines the pain and the brokenness that all of us as human beings have. And that certainly is not something to celebrate because, as you can hear from the prior callers, there's so much pain involved in single parenting, being a child and being a single parent, because typically it's because somebody's been widowed or divorced or, in a situation where they never had their partner that they, created this beautiful miracle child with. And so I just wanted to specify that because it just, when I heard celebrate, I thought, ouch, that just is so secular.
You're absolutely spot on, and it was probably me that said it just because it's Monday and I'm starting off the day and I read on the notes, and so I wasn't necessarily using it in that terms, but I totally understand. When you use the word celebrate, it's kind of like a reinforcement or an encouragement of a current state. I mean, Mia, unfortunately I went through a horrific divorce. I wouldn't celebrate National Divorce Day, so I totally understand what you're saying, and absolutely, I think though in this particular case, and please forgive me for that word if I'm the one that used it, I'm really, it's more of a recognition, a recognition of National Single Parents Day, because I do believe, Mia, just like divorced people as well, and because you were a child of divorce, I just want to say that, we sometimes forget about the parents that are still there. We forget about the parents that are still maintaining what they need to do as Christian parents. And it's very unfortunate. And we forget about them. The moment somebody slaps a label on somebody like single parent or divorced or whatever, widowed, or even anything like that, it puts them in another category. And then no one knows how to really recognize them or to appreciate them or to validate the life position they're in. And so basically today is a recognition of those single parents that did try their very best to step up, to take on the privilege and the gift and the responsibility of raising a child and getting them to the point of independence and to turning them into the world. And so I agree with you. You're right. And I apologize for that, because we never want to celebrate secular things and promote that and try to foster that. You're absolutely correct. And I'm 100%, you're talking to an Orthodox Catholic here, Leah, and I called you Mia again because it's still up on the screen. Matt Gavinsky, you need to change that. Okay, that's our call screener. But Leah, I totally agree with you. I'm a firm believer that we need a mom in the home, we need a dad in the home, we need the domestic church, we need an intact family to function properly, and we need a hedge of protection around the family to protect the family from all demonic influences. And it's very, very important because we know that Satan and the demons are very much after marriage and families. So I'm with you 100%. What do you think, Jer?
No, I'm curious, Leah, your thoughts on that. I've got a couple quick comments I wanted to make, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on what Debbie shared.
Yeah, so, I absolutely agree. I just, single parenting, I can't even imagine. I'm not a single parent myself, even though I was raised by one. I just wanted to encourage the mother earlier that is so broken that she did not give up her daughter for adoption. I just really wanted to encourage her that I know personal friends that have been adopted and they really struggle as adults with abandonment and things like that. So I just wanted to encourage her that no matter the situation, she took on that responsibility out of love for the baby that came out of her body and did her best. And her daughter could have even more problems. We just don't know had she been, quote, adopted out or whatever.
Right.
I was born to a single, she got married when she was pregnant with me, but she was a teenager at the time when she became pregnant. And I just feel so loved now that I'm older, in my later 40s, and appreciate that sacrifice. And I think her daughter will get there too.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to encourage her, or any mother that feels like they maybe should have adopted their child out.
Yeah, Leah, thank you for bringing your perspective to the program today. And I'm with Debbie. I think if we use the word celebrate, I tried to use the word recognize early in the program, simply because, I have as a frame of reference, my own upbringing with a single mom. And I know that raising kids with two parents can be challenging enough, especially in today's environment. But, I just remember times, I don't know if my mother said it with words or if I just picked up on it by her look or her actions. But she felt a lot of times like she was on the outside looking in,
That's right.
She would go to events at our school and be a single mom, and all the other kids have their moms and dads. And so I agree with everything that you're saying, Leah. I just think that the heroic sacrifices and love, especially of the caller you mentioned earlier, have to be. We have to recognize that without celebrating the fact. We obviously want every family, as Debbie has said, to be intact. Mom, dad, domestic church, and all of that. Sometimes life gets a little bit messy, so we do want to take the time to, in some way, express our gratitude to those who go really above and beyond the call to help out, especially when they're a single parent. So I hope that is makes some sense to you, Leah. And anything else you wanted to add before we go?
No, that's it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Leah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And Matt changed your name from Mia to Leah, so we got two names. I love both names. Yeah. We're teasing Matt today. I keep telling Matt, Matthew means a gift of God. See, he's lucky he carries that name.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Where are we going?
Well, we are going to the end of the program is where we're going. We're going to hear the closing music here in about 11 seconds, and that'll be done by Ace McKay, our producer. Again, Jeff Burson on social media, Matt Kabinski on the phones, the entire EWTN team. Debbie and I are so grateful, and affiliates for carrying the program as well. Julia in Texas. There you hear that music. I just wish we had time. Celesta in South Carolina, you were on the line and then you dropped and you got back on there. But please feel free to email us if you have any comments or insights on this topic today at take2@ewtn.com.
Tomorrow's our In the News show. A lot happening in the news, so you're going to want to step up. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. That's tomorrow's show. Call in early. We only do a one part of that show, so just a one broadcast. We're not going to do 2 parts, 3 parts. So it's In the News tomorrow on Take Two. We love the Take Two family. Thank you so much for participating today. And until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. We ask always, St. Joseph, please pray for all of us.
The most original and exclusive Catholic